Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of WrestleCast. I am your host, Dana, joined by Mr. Danny Martinez. How are you doing, Martinez?
Very tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired of WWE and their antics.
Hence the name. I'm tired, Grandpa.
And
He is
WWE is like,
fired
that's
up.
too damn bad.
Let's do I am tired. That's basically Triple H now stepping in the role of Vince. Which, by the way, if you have not seen the Hulk Hogan document, that's a little like TMZ. We remember Hulk Hogan thing on Hulu. It's 30 minutes, and basically Vince buries Triple H and his creative decisions, which is hilarious. Vince is cosplaying as Pepe Le Pew, and it's just spectacular to see. But our conversation of the day is actually about the WWE ESPN deal, which we heard about, like, I believe 7 days ago, but there was a lot of misinformation and communications that were just crossed over, and nobody knew exactly what the full details were, including what's included, what's not included. And so we had to kind of wait for that to subside so that we can get as much information as possible regarding this. So, right off the bat, you heard the deal that WWE pay-per-view, well, sorry, PLEs, they have not been called pay-per-views in a very long, over 10 years now. Oh my. They have not been called pay-per-views for a very long time. And pay-per-views itself is officially dead because we're not going to talk about the UFC deal, but that's gone too. That is gone to the promised land of Paramount Plus. But regarding this deal, ESPN, WWE, we're getting 10 PLEs for starting in 2026, and there might be a sprinkle-ish of some more that'll be out there, but for the moment, it's for 10 PLEs. This does not include the library catalog or anything else in terms of like docu-series or documentaries that have been announced at this moment. So what are your initial thoughts? If you do not have, we'll break down the prices of possibly paying $30 a month, or you get that grand old deal of $300 a year.
It's too much. It's way too much. And ESPN doesn't immediately, for me specifically, this doesn't go for everybody, but like ESPN is not something that appeals to me. Peacock was a lot more of an appeal because I like to watch actual entertaining television, not sports. I'm not a sports guy. I don't care for UFC, NFL, NBA, any of that stuff. So it'll appeal to plenty of people, but I feel like you're going to lose a vast majority of the audience who are not interested or don't see the value in an ESPN account. And even with that, $300 for the year, and that's a discount because you're paying for the year. So if you want to pay month by month, that's even more. So you're essentially just paying for a month of maybe a particular PLE that you might want, along with possibly some other fees. It's not worth it. That's my instant immediate thing. And also my immediate
Yeah.
reaction was, how much did ESPN pay WWE? Because that's all that they care about. I don't think they cared about the fans. I don't think they cared about the subscribers on Peacock. They just cared about, I think they paid twice as much, was it? 3 times as much as what Peacock did. So it's just about the money.
Yeah, it was something that was very shocking. I think we all knew that they was going to get a deal. They're all about the money. There's a company out there, and I think just in general, if you have a product and someone is willing to pay way more than someone else, because remember, Netflix had the opportunity, I believe it was Netflix or it was Peacock, had the opportunity to say, hey, this is what we're being offered. Can you match or top this? And they were like, nah, we good. We all right. Go be. We wish you your future endeavors. So
Wow.
yeah, it was a big thing where it's like a lot of people are starting to wonder, and this also is Fox, which is hilarious because Disney owned Fox. But back when it was on Fox, one of the biggest things was like, this is not worth the amount of money that we're paying, and that was like, substantially less than what they was given over at Netflix. So, and I believe Peacock. But yeah, so kind of just breaking everything down. This broke, as everyone kind of knew. It broke at 6 in the morning, which was not fun for people having to actually cover this. But it broke at 6 in the morning, where basically it stated that there will be a new streaming service. This is a brand new streaming service that will debut on August 21st. We are looking at what, a good 7 days, 8 days from now. We were recording this on the 13th of August, which is going to be time for a marquee stretch of live sports programming across ESPN platforms. And this also really coincides with what you're saying. If you are someone who is heavily into sports, I would be like, this is the greatest deal I ever seen in my life. I'd have been so happy. I'd have just peed from joy. Because it's not just, when you get this new streaming service, it's not like, oh, it's just WWE. This is the NFL. This is college football. This is tennis. This is soccer, volleyball, hockey, the WNBA, the PLL playoffs, NBA and NHL. So it's like Sports Central. Everything that you ever wanted. And in regards to this deal, you're only getting the 10 pay-per-views. And it's like, okay. And I know there were a lot of interviews because this was basically marketing week. This also contributes as to why there was no press conferences. They are able to control the narratives by doing who they pick and choose to go into these, obviously ESPN, to do these interviews with Stephen A. Smith just yelling at you for like an hour. But anyway, yeah, basically what you're doing is this. It is a brand new service, as I stated before. Now, there will be bundling options. We do have the bundling option, which is the ESPN Unlimited plan with the Disney Plus and Hulu for $29.99 a month for the first 12 months. And I want to reiterate this. For the first 12 months, this even includes non-bundles. So if you're like, what's this streaming service? I don't care. I want to see my WWE no matter what. This is the first year. So you're looking at, obviously, they're telling you, we're going to start raising the price in 27. So you may be looking at $40 a month or 35. I don't think we'll ever, could you imagine if we'll get to 50?
Cable services do this all the time. I remember back in the day, I want to say it was Spectrum, I think it was, I was working with, and my internet was 65. It was 70 with tax every month. And I guess they try to rely on you forgetting that you have only a special package just for the year, because once that year hit, I didn't pay any mind. I completely forgot about it. And my next bill hit, and that shit was twice as much. It was almost $150 after taxes. And that was like, because I had a very high tier internet service. I gotta have that, but I was just like, oh no, like no, we're going somewhere else now. So yeah, they rely on that year subscription thing so you guys can forget.
And I completely agree. Going back, which is why kind of hilarious, I completely got rid of cable because the bill was over $300 a month. So I'm like, I'm not paying this. I need to eat. We might have the world collapse soon. I need my money. But yeah, and it just wasn't worth it. And now you look at it, because if you look at it just in general with just a WWE fan, I just want WWE. I don't care about anything else. We're paying a lot of money for that. We're paying for Peacock. We're paying for Netflix. If you don't have cable, for example, you're paying for Hulu in order to get SmackDown. I don't know how the CW works, but somehow you have to get CW. And then now with this, the ESPN deal, you're also paying for that. And it's like, okay, great. I can switch Peacock to ESPN. I'm good. We're just switching everything over. It's not a switchation because the library is on Peacock. And that library, once their deal is over with, is going to expire. So what's going from that moment? What happens to the library? And also, do you want to still hold on to that library? Because the streaming service may start at one time, but there may be a in between, a lapse between that library and where is it going to go? Is it still on Peacock or not? So you're paying for a lot of different services for that, and you still need Peacock for Saturday Night Main Event. So you also have that as well. They're still doing Saturday night main event. And no matter what, they're going to still continue to counter program their not competition AEW by setting up even more pay-per-views.
Which not to mention, if you are a wrestling fan in general and you watch both WWE and AEW, imagine you have to get all those subscriptions on top of HBO Max, so that way you can watch AEW product.
Right. But see, right now at the moment, I just hope that they're continuing to do what they are doing in terms of AEW. Just focus on yourself. Yeah. But I wanted to bring this up. Like, oh my God, why are you talking about AEW? They themselves, it's not competition, but you start counter programming someone on purpose. We're getting a possible Brock versus Cena match to counteract All Out. And that's in London. What is it? London, I believe. Or no, it's Toronto. But the point is, you're thinking about the competition. So why would I exactly bring this up? Also, this is now. If I'm putting on my business hat, one, look at all this money that we're making. Look at all this money that we're gaining from people. But our competition, who's not our competition, AEW, they can't go anywhere else when it comes to their rights going up. So we blocked off Peacock, Netflix, Hulu, ESPN. Where can they go for their deals? Where could they go for their rights? Even Netflix. That's still WWE. So strategic and business-wise, it's very smart. But in order to kill the competition, I do feel that the fans have to pay, literally are paying for it. And so it's very interesting how this will actually play, because people are very upset about this, obviously. But, we've seen this kind of before with programming raising their prices. The Netflix kind of, raises their prices. Peacock, there's a big price. They're adding $3 more for their service coming in the end of August.
Wow.
So we're still paying more for that, and we got to pay in order for that for WWE as well. So people complain a lot, but I think that people complain, and sometimes their complaints don't match their actions. Like the whole Karrion Kross situation. Bring back Karrion Kross. Where were the chains? I know you think that was something that didn't happen, but we'll see. But okay, so we talked about the bundling options, or you can just get, ESPN Plus regular, which is at $11.99 a month, but that doesn't include all of the other services that you would need in order to get your WWE stuff. So there are options and there are things that are available. So there's many confusion about who has to pay the $29.99. I love how it's $29.99 and I just say $30 because they think that 1 cent is going to be like, oh, look, I'm saving something, a penny.
That psychology has been proven the longest time ago. People already know about that psychology trick. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why they still do that too.
I don't know. But we have to do some clarification. What happens if you or me, we have a traditional package, a traditional cable package? We still have cable. We're holding on to cable. We happen to get ESPN on our regular cable. You're getting this new streaming program completely free, not free of charge, because you're already paying for it in your cable bill. In terms of you're not paying any additional fees. So you just get it. All you have to do is sign in through your cable system. So, for example, you stated that you have Spectrum at one time.
I have AT&T now, yeah.
You have AT&T? I don't, yeah. But the AT&T and Spectrum, whatever it is, cable per service provider that you have, you just log in with those credentials that you used for your cable system, and you are able to get the ESPN Plus, whatever it is, for no additional charge. So you're fine. You're going to be great. I know there were murky waters when it came to YouTube Live. Many people are like, does that include that? There has not been a substantial answer yet. So at the moment, it could change, but at this moment, you might have to pay for the extra for that. No one's, they're working, I think they're still kind of working out deals. But at the moment, YouTube TV are not currently going to get access to ESPN, the new system. And then also what happens to Xfinity. If you're a subscriber to Xfinity, that does not include this package deal as well. So you will be paid. Yeah. Now this is we got, and things do change. A lot of things do change, so we have to wait and see. But that is one of the big things that we don't know exactly what's going to happen. Also, one of the big questions that still remain is, where are the old PLEs going? No one seems to know. Now, we do know that right now everything that you can find is on Peacock. So the old PLEs are on Peacock. There was an interview that was done by the head of ESPN that stated once those rights to the PLEs are up, they would love to purchase it. So we could be seeing all of the old programming, all of the old PLEs going to ESPN. So that could actually change a lot of people's minds in terms of wanting to switch over. If you're able to get the same library and the same catalog, that could be something that people would want. Would you then switch over?
Yeah, me? No, I still wouldn't. I'm different. Like, I think you're right. A lot of people would appeal to the fact that they could see the old stuff back then. I don't care for the old stuff. Once it's done and gone, I tend to just move on to whatever is new, whatever the newest episode is, and that's it. I don't find myself ever going back to past matches or past pay-per-views. If we have like a documentary that's coming out, maybe I'll watch it, but I don't tend to rewatch a lot of stuff. So that doesn't appeal for me specifically, but it might work for others.
Okay. The other option that people are saying, and that WWE has been doing, has been testing the waters for a while, the WWE YouTube channel has been having a lot of their old matches, from the old black and gold NXT to, Superstars debut. You sort of feel like, oh, look, it's baby Sasha Banks. And here's her first match. So a lot of that could just be dumped on YouTube. It's been very profitable for a lot of companies, because not just WWE has been doing this. Movie studios have done this as well. Well, you'll just randomly find, here's like the full movie that they've released, and just put it on YouTube, the old movies, nothing of today. And so it worked out really great for them. And that, you can get a whole new audience that way, because you're not paying for that for the moment. YouTube is still free. Although who knows what may happen later on. But for the moment, YouTube is still free. So that is one of the big options. Another of the problems is that, now this is all for just U.S. We're just screwed no matter what in the U.S. International, you still have the WWE network. Which,
I want that back. I miss it. That it just makes sense for them to have their own thing.
You can get that VPN. And VPN that network.
They just don't support it, though. They don't properly support it, and especially for everyone. Like, why? Do you know why they stopped really focusing on the WWE network?
They didn't
even try. The network itself was only marketed for what, 5 years or something before they just dropped it, and then they went to Peacock, and they were still sticking with USA.
They were losing more money than they were putting out. So
I don't believe 5 years is enough time to really give an effort. I mean, look at Netflix, who was just a rental service for DVDs and gave it some time, and look where they're at now. Amazon was just a freaking library of books before they blew up. Like, you don't like 5 years. It's 5 years. That's a blip in the radar. That's a blip in time when it comes to business. Like, 5 years is not enough time for you to marinate a network that people had to get used to, because they still had product in USA. They still had product on Fox. The pay-per-views were still around, so you had to find out how to do they had a pay-per-view going. It takes time.
Yes, but at the same time, there's a reason as to why a lot of licensing deals have been made available for, say, for example, Amazon-only movies, because that's how you are able to get money. If everything is in-house, and you rely on subscribers, it's not a sustainable
So
kind of thing.
you don't just
Netflix,
rely on subscribers. I mean, look at Netflix. Yeah, they relied on subscribers for a long time, and now they're playing around with possibly having ads on everything. Like, why couldn't
well,
they,
they have ads on everything.
they could have had an ad and an ad-free version of WWE Network. They're doing the sponsor thing to all hell already when it comes to like in the rings and on the tables and on the merchandise and on the entrance gear and all that stuff. Like they could have brought that in. They're already penny pinching as much as it is since TKO took over. So they have other outlets for income, not just subscriptions.
Yes, that is true. But you know, it is what it is, and
Yeah.
I really do wish that we had the WWE network because it made everything easier. Everything. So I said some people may still have WWE network, but I think it's just everything's been given to Netflix.
Yeah.
I don't know if WWE network still exists for a lot of people in our country. I'm not sure, but yeah. In terms also with ESPN, there is a strong belief that you're still getting ads. $30 a month, and you're still gonna have crap. And of course, WWE, as we know, does a lot of in-house ads. You know, you'll randomly see the New Day like, "We love this pizza," so that'll happen. So you're still getting some form of an ad, but
Yeah.
just you know, it is very unfortunate because people don't have the money to have all of these streaming services just for one sport. And if you're less, like we were saying before, unless you're a sports fan, I don't know whether or not all of this is worth it. And it is a lot of money. And then one of the things that I want to bring up is, do you feel that like if WWE was firing on all cylinders in terms of their stories, their matches, everything not feeling like it was thrown together, would that then justify $30 a month? Because if you really look at it, we've seen matches randomly thrown together, pay-per-views are thrown together. Now that we have this new pay-per-view that might be called Bad Blood, that they're bringing back because of the all-out situation. Do you feel that kind of in general how they've been doing pay-per-views so far, it's worth more money?
No, I also think that like just paying for the subscription for example Peacock, and I have other things to look forward to, such as like Twisted Metal or any other options that are on Peacock. Um, and then when a pay per view strikes my interest, I'm able to watch it. So and for free for that matter. But like if you're offering a product where I have to pay more, I no, because you're not giving me a good product to begin with. Like we talked about SummerSlam recently, and I was not impressed with SummerSlam because the buildup of stories and the matches themselves were not that great. Yes, we talked about how the twists for each night was really well done and stuff, but the entertainment aspect of like the stories and everything were just very half-assed, and that's been a product a lot lately. A lot of people have been complaining about Triple H's bookings, so it's not worth it at all. Like and the funny thing is that we might as haters benefit from this if let's say they charge $30 per PLE, right?
Mhm.
It'll show which ones are hit and miss. Because if we're watching SummerSlam and we're excited for SummerSlam, everybody's going to pay for it and they're going to notice those numbers. Versus, let's say, Bad Blood comes along and the booking is shitty and they don't get the numbers that they want. It shows either that their booking was really bad or maybe people are not interested in that pay-per-view that much. So it's a way to gauge a little bit on like what is what interest the people. But I don't want to pay that extra cash.
I understand. And then on top of that, it should be noted that NXT, their pay-per-views It's not being included as well. This is only for the main event roster.
Yeah.
So you're not even getting NXT. So we don't know what's happening with that. TNA right now, we do know that they're associated with WWE. That's a whole nother conversation. But they don't even have that. If you're someone who watches that, that's going to be probably a different streaming service as well. So it's a lot to be a wrestling fan. But then I also wanted to bring up this really quickly. So you say that the storyline stuff, Vince McMahon obviously would agree with you because he did bury that Triple H during that Hogan documentary. But yeah, he was like, because remember the whole Hogan situation, he was like, that is not how we honor and present wrestlers, pay tribute to him. But yes, so the deal is for 5 years. I have the hiccups. Excuse me. The deal is for 5 years. It's $1.6 billion, beginning, like I stated, in 26, starting with the Royal Rumble. That is going to be the first PLE. So not only are you going to get, the PLEs, but they're also, this is when it gets kind of a little weird, not weird, but hold on to your cable because there's still money that can be made in cable. So if you have cable, it will also stream some of the PLEs on ESPN as well. So the deal will also include WWE pre and post event shows. Because remember, WWE does those hour-long pre-shows that I'm the only one who watches. He doesn't care about at all. And then they also do those conferences where they're out there in front of the crowd, and it's like, Roman Reigns come out, and everyone's like, "Ooh, la, la." So they're going to do that. And, of course, the post-show, which means their own version of the press conference where, they just sit and talk to WWE employees and ask them questions that's already pre-planned. Obviously, we've gotten rid of the press conferences. So you do get some of that as well. And WWE is going to take on the producing aspect of it. And ESPN, they did state, we'll have the opportunity to create original content. So we could get more of the 30 for 30, because that's ESPN. I like their 30 for 30. Their best one was obviously the one about Vince McMahon, but also the one about NXT Black and Gold. This was when Corey Graves was a wrestler. That's how long ago it was. And he had his son. And he was talking about being a father. That was one of their best ESPN 30 for 30. So you do have that as well. So then I guess everything at the moment, it's going to just cost a lot of more money for people who want to be fans. Of course, ticket prices are high on top of that. So it's very expensive to be a fan. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention or is upset or even excited about?
No, just upset pretty much. I think a part of it is with all these changes and the spread of all the WWE content is a lot of people right now are feeling streaming fatigue. Whereas like remember back in the day we paid for cable and cable got ridiculously expensive because we had to pay for extra channels, premium packages and all this and that. DVR if you wanted it, whatever it might be. But and then once the internet came about and then once we started streaming things, those things were either free or released super cheap. It's practically free entertainment. But now, corporations got involved and now everything costs money again. The streaming service is always a separate streaming service for everything. So you have to pay for those. And now it's gotten just as expensive as cable back in the day. So now people are feeling that fatigue of just like that frustration of just like we have to start canceling things. We got to start penny pinching again. We're getting bothered with ads or now we have the no ad packages and it's just penny pinching all around. And it's getting exhausting. So now on top of this for the WWE fans, it's just like now, like you said, we have to focus on Peacock. You might have a WWE network account for some reason, and then you got to worry about Netflix and Hulu, and then if you're an AEW fan, you got a HBO Max. and then you got to find out how you watch NXT and then on top of that, YouTube possibly, because you're probably watching dark matches or AEW stuff or WWE stuff there. It's a whole mess. So yes, a lot of people are frustrated over this. And on top of that, we have to pay more money. And I think that's the biggest thing about this. There's nothing that's consolidated anymore. So I'm tired, Grandpa.
But so for WWE, that's essentially what they're saying to you. Because guess what? This deal, it is a lot of money for them. And in terms of that, in terms of the possibility of the rumor that we're getting a WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia, they're going to pay a couple of billion for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they're making bank. They're making money. My whole thing is, that's great. That's fine. That's wonderful. But the stories have just been, I just don't care. And so it'll be really interesting to see how this all comes together. And the rumor has been like, oh, there was a plan. Remember Unreal? So there's a plan for everything. But we all know that that's not really true. And John Cena was like, hey, I didn't plan for half of this. Anybody that I wrestle is literally WWE's responsibility. I have no say in anything. So whatever happens, he's just saying, leave me alone. But this should be really interesting, and kind of, it's just very expensive to be a wrestling fan, apparently. And the other thing that really kind of bothered me is that unless you're a deep sports fan, unlike HBO Max, which offers all the different shows and movies, and Peacock, which again offers a lot of different shows and movies of all different arrays, I just wonder how big of an audience that they're going to have when it comes to this. And are you really going to end up looking at the streaming service numbers is high because they want those NFL shows and to watch the NFL games, compared to we got it because we want to watch wrestling. So it'll be really interesting to play out. Either way, WWE wins. They're getting money. They're going to get streamers no matter what. I'm just here for, I don't know, Peyton Manning. That still counts as numbers for WWE. So we'll see what ends up happening overall, but it is expensive, and it is something that is just, it's something. But Netflix deal is not going away anytime soon. They're still on Netflix.
But did you say it was like a 5-year deal or something like that with them?
I believe I thought the Netflix deal was 10 years.
10 years? Oh, that's a long time.
I believe that it was, we may not even be around for 10 years. But then they're getting a deal. So let's see. I believe it was it's a 10-year deal for $5 billion.
Ooh.
They're just making billions, but there's not all that money, and no one can just get some good writers and stories in there and map this thing out.
It's all going to investors. That's all they care about, is just pleasing the investors.
That's crazy. $5 billion just from Netflix. Then you have another billion here. You're getting billions everywhere. Just hire some darn good writers and give us some good storylines. And remember, there seems to be a lack of, what is that? Not only just storylines, but long-term storylines and long-term bookings. So we'll see what ends up happening. But overall, that is all we have to say about this. Is there anything that you would like to add or plug or shout out?
No, I'm good. Just slowly not becoming a WWE fan. It's sad to say.
Ooh, good Lord. Well, that is our thoughts on the deal, and we'll be back with a lot of other things that are happening. We're pretty sure. So thank you again for watching us. I've been your host, Dana. Say goodbye to Danny Martinez. Bye, Danny. Have a great day, evening, weekend, whenever you're watching this.